Ladies, we did not finish goal 11 in class today, so I wanted to make a quick screencast of that for you now. And if you'll look, this says find the exact value of each equation. To solve this equation for x, I need to factor before I can solve for sine 2x or for cosine x. And at this point, I do not have a GCF with which to factor. So I'm going to look for something to substitute for. And so I recognize that sine 2x can be expanded. So I'm going to expand that. Remember, our double angle formula for sine is is 2 sine x cosine x. And then I'll bring down the next term plus cosine x, still equal to 0. Now, if I look at my terms, remember terms are separated by plus and minus, so I have 1, 2 terms. And I notice that I can factor out a cosine x out of both of those. So I'll factor out cosine x, which leaves me with 2 sine x plus 1 equals 0. Now that we have factored, we can set each factor equal to 0. So we'd have cosine x equals 0 and sine x equals -1/2. I really want to encourage you to study your trig functions again and their values on the unit circle. The quiz that we recently took on solving trig equations, I was surprised at how many people were getting confused or mixing up sine and cosine of 30 degrees with 60 degrees or vice versa. So please be careful with that. Let's solve this, and notice I didn't give any restrictions, so let's assume that the homework gave us restrictions from 0 to 2 pi, so we'll say from 0 to 2 pi. So where does cosine equal 0 from 0 to 2 pi? Well, it equals 0 at pi over 2 degrees, or pi over 2 radians, and at 3 pi over 2 radians. Sine equals 1/2 at a 30-degree reference angle. The 30-degree reference angles are pi over 6. Sine is negative in quadrants 3 and 4, so that would be 7 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. So let's just recap. I substituted the double angle formula for sine. That allows me to factor, and then we can solve from there. Let's go to B. We're still finding the exact value of the equation. Before I look for the exact value, it is very important that this equation equals 0. On the quiz, many of you divided by the term on the right-hand side rather than subtracting it. And when you divide by it, it doesn't equal 0. That side equals 1. So let's make sure to remember to subtract that from both sides. So when we subtract from both sides, that gives us sine 2x times sine 1x minus cosine. Now, you might be tempted to multiply sine 2x and sine 1x, but because these are unlike terms, we cannot multiply them together. So in this case, we'll look for an opportunity to substitute. And again, we can substitute our double angle formula for sine. So if you'll take a moment and substitute that now. Okay, so now we've substituted in the place of sine 2x, its double angle formula, 2 sine x times cosine x. Now I'll bring down sine x and bring down the minus cosine x, still equal to 0. Now we have two terms again, just as before, but this time notice that term 1 and term 2 have a GCF. So we can factor the GCF out of these two terms, and that GCF is cosine. So let's factor out cosine x, and that leaves us with 2 sine x times sine x minus 1 equal to 0. So we factored cosine out of each of these. Now we can set each factor equal to 0, so find where cosine x equals 0, and we can find where 2 sine x times sine x is sine squared x. We can find where that equals minus 1 equals 0. You may be wondering why I'm typing. My iPad is dead and I don't have the charger with me, so I'm typing this instead of writing it. So sorry if that's bothering you. Okay, so sine x times sine x is sine squared x. And in order to solve here, let's isolate sine squared x. And once we isolate that, that is equal to 1/2. And now we'll need to take the square root of both sides. And that would give us the sine x is equal to plus or minus, so I'll try to write that in here as neatly as possible, the square root of 1/2. Now when you rationalize that, that gives you plus or minus the square root of, sorry it's so sloppy, I'm trying to write with my mouse, which is really hard, square root of 2 over 2. Now you're ready to find where these values. So cosine x equals 0 at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Sine equals positive and negative root 2 over 2 at our 45-degree angles. So pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4. Whoops, that's not, yep, 5 pi over 4, and finally 7 pi over 4. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you need help with anything else.